What's going on, family, man? Welcome in. I'm glad everybody's here. Yo, Leo, I saw you in here, man. Appreciate you being here. Ripsaw, Joe, thank you for being a member. And hold on, wait a minute. I saw, man, Space G95, my watch crunch buddy. What's going on, family, man? Welcome into the show. So, let me see. Like 2 to 3 minutes ago, man, I just dropped a review on this watch that I have on my wrist. Right. So if you got a chance to catch that, you need to go over there and check it out if you hadn't already. Yes, this is the first time that I dove into the Laurier brand. And I've been talking about this all week. I know you guys have been following me on Instagram and stuff like that. But like I said, it's one thing having a watch. We all see that. But how many times do we get a chance to meet the people that actually created the watch? It's not like you can go and ring the doorbell to the CEO of Seiko and be like, hey man, could you come over and holler at me? Let me talk to you for a little bit. You know, I want to know, because I know it's a lot of Seiko fans out there. So tonight we got some heavy hitters, man. And I'm gonna need y'all, because I know some of y'all in here, some of y'all watching on your tablets and stuff, on your TVs. I appreciate that. Salute to you guys. But everybody in the chat, man, we got to get ready, because these two are celebrities. And y'all know, anybody that's been to my show, we got to do it right. We got to welcome to the stage in the right way. So before I bring them up, Mr. Lorenzo and Lauren, we got to bring them up right. Yo, what's going on, man? Appreciate y'all being here. How y'all doing?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Listen, I appreciate you guys being on here. Before we even get started, what's on the wrist?
No, I've got my Neptune on too.
Ah, okay. All right.
And I've got, this is kind of a deep cut. I have the collab we did with Worn Around for the Hydra too. So this is a special limited edition from what year?
Last year?
2022? I don't honestly, it was one of the past few years and it's all blurred together, but yeah, it was our latest collab with Worn Around.
That's crazy. Okay. So, you know, we got a lot of questions. You know what? I'll say this. When I came out to Chicago and I met you guys, you realize that there were a ton of exhibits out there. And there were a number that caught my attention. But it was really your mustache that got you. Stopped me in my tracks. I said, dude, his mustache is so fly. Oh, my gosh.
Thank you so much.
No
I've
problem.
had it for 2 years now. She hates it.
No.
Or she hated it in the beginning.
I don't know what's
I think
happened.
she's used to it now.
I don't know what's happened to me, but now I really like it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a like, but it's like
it's growing on you.
It has. I feel drawn to it. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, he's a specimen, man. That dude, look, I'm telling. Listen, if it called mine, I was like, that dude mustache is fly. Well, he kind of got that Magnum PI look.
I'm glad he has it. I'm glad that's what brought you to the table, and I'm glad he stuck around.
Yes, And then he gave me a gift. I still got it. I haven't even taken out the. You remember giving me this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't taken it out. Man, I was like, dude, I'm gonna cherish this. It's actually going. I'm making a scrapbook for like all the events and stuff that I've been to, and I can't take that out the package. That's going in my scrapbook just like that.
Well, I'll have to
Yeah.
send you one that you can take out of the package and use. We should have given you two.
Man, look.
That's our bad.
No, you're fine. You guys made my day. So like I said, we have so many questions. But before we get started, do you guys sort of feel like celebrity or like on a celebrity status? Because, and I asked that because before I asked you guys to come up, there are a ton of videos where you guys have interviewed with all types. You guys got a bunch of stuff on Warner Wound. You guys been on podcasts, and you guys are just like popping right now, man. When you say the word Laurier, the Ortegas, it was like you don't know who they were because I didn't. Again, I've been collecting Invicta since 2014. I've had Seiko and Citizen. Citizen and Seiko was in my family all the way through. It's almost like Chevy and Ford relationship. That's how I grew up on watches. And I know you were talking about like your Seiko was the watch that brought you to the table, right?
Yeah. Seiko 5, we got for my 15th birthday.
Yeah. And I've heard that on at least 15 podcasts or videos.
You know what? People ask us the same questions
but
pretty frequently. So I'm sorry you had to hear that so many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't go wrong with Seiko.
Yeah.
It's solid.
But we try not to think about how we are out there and known to people.
It's still very niche, though. You know, it's very niche.
Yeah,
so,
it is. And I have to say, another thing that attracts me about you guys is when I listen to you talk and your position on how you came into watches. So here on my show, majority of the people have collected like the massive watches, and you were just the opposite. You know, you wanted more of a smaller traditional style watch, and I respect that. And my whole goal with asking you guys to come on here is to give people an idea of what that looks like, you know, from somebody that's not, watch snob in my book, because you don't approach, collecting or being an enthusiast like the average. So I've heard it a million times. How do you guys feel about just watches in general? How do you feel before you even create a watch? How do you guys feel about it?
Well, I will say that we don't make our watches with collecting in mind. We make it mostly for use and style. That's okay. We want our watches to be worn a lot. That the best praise we can get is I wear your watch every day. So
I think what really fascinates us about watches is that they can be like these companions that eventually tell your story, and then that's like a part that becomes a part of you even after I die. Like my watch is still going to be there, and then it's going to get passed down to whoever comes after and be like, oh yeah, this was Lorenzo, he wore this every day.
I guess there aren't many items that we can associate with ourselves so personally,
right?
And so you can take advantage. You can take advantage of that item that is useful, that serves you, that represents your style, and that will slowly absorb, part of you and how others see you and in your memories of your life too.
Yeah, there's something about a watch. Maybe it's like the fact that it tells time or whatever that like imbues it with some sort of connection to the wearer. Like I have the Seiko that I was wearing when one of our cats died 6 years ago, and until now I can't wear it because it's associated with that memory, and like that's a watch I wore every day, and that's a watch I still love. But now it's like it's still there, right? But it's like, oh yeah. And then we have like watches that we wore like for a wedding, and it's like it's weird because like I love that watch so much, and like it's very precious, but it's like now I'm afraid to wear it because like I don't. No, it's too special, right? So, yeah.
You know, walk the line here.
Yeah. So there's something about watches. I don't know what it is, but there's something that makes them special.
No, they are. It's a testament to a lot of stuff. So one thing in our community, we've always associated particular watches with stories. For example, it was a friend of mine that Invicta had a watch that was like $300 for a long time, and I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was on sale for like $159 or something. I was like, dude, I woke him up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Get up, buy the watch, and we both have the watch. And anytime I wear it, I think about him. So I could see. Listen, and again, I don't want you to take this wrong way. I really looked at all of the interviews you guys been on, and I was just intrigued, man. I really love the videos because people got a lot of respect for you two. You guys hit this thing. So you have Laurier started in 2018, correct?
That's
Yeah.
February, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. Yeah. The
You
last day of
really-
February 2018. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm really impressed. You did your research.
I'm not playing.
No, you're not.
You guys made a huge impact. Honestly, you had so much energy. Lorenzo, you know what? One thing I loved about you guys, and I want to talk about you guys being married. We can talk about the watches in a second, but one thing I noticed, I've been married for 21 years, been with my wife for 22 total. And you talked about it and she solidified it. You guys collab, and if you had missed something, she picked up on it. And I was like, man, these like Wonder Twins, man. Like, so what the heck? That was freaky. I loved it. Like, you guys have this unity like that's crazy. So how did you guys meet in the first place?
We met in college. Yeah.
Okay.
I met in college. I started a little kickboxing club, and she joined up with her boyfriend at the time.
It was kind of funny because my boyfriend at the time was like, Lorenzo was in a year above us, and he really admired Lorenzo a lot. Like, loved his style, loved everything about it, and now I do too.
But yeah. So.
But yeah, and we became friends through that.
Right.
So we were friends first, and then we just spent more time together, and then just never spent time apart. That's kind of how it happened. Yeah.
Oh, that is crazy. So you guys are educators.
We were.
We
so
were.
you still educating people out here on the wrist game, bro? Like, you guys
Yeah.
So I want to start with Lauren. What was your major for the audience? Let them know what your major. Yeah. What did you major in?
Oh, I majored in American Studies.
American Studies.
Kind of, it's liberal arts. It's honestly, I loved it because it's like cultural studies, so you could dabble in philosophy and history and social sciences and literature and all that. So that was really my passion. And honestly, I wanted to teach at the collegiate level, and then it just did not work out. And we both became high school teachers, and I ended up teaching world history instead of American. But
okay,
yeah, that's just how it went.
Yeah,
I did international political economy, and I ended up teaching economics.
So you guys got that's the cheat code. So that's like a good element for somebody that owns a watch company, because you can just hit all type of demographics. I see what you guys did there. I'm not gonna tell nobody else.
That's a very gracious interpretation. What really happened is that we're educated in pretty much everything other than business management.
And you guys own a business now.
Right. Now we're like, okay, how to start your own business? Google search. But
jeez,
it worked out. It worked out.
And you know what's crazy? I know you guys dove into one of the interviews you did. You guys kind of dove into this with like no fear. You like, let's just go for it, and here you go. And then it's like I remember listening to you. It's like, hey, we out here. And you're like, wait a minute, we're out here. You know what I'm saying? Like we just jump, and I love that. You know, your story honestly is like inspiring to somebody that may watch this and want to create their own company, be it a watch company or whatever the case is. I do recommend that you guys do some research at home. Just search Worn and Wound and the Ortegas and just listen. There's so many different parts. There are I mean, I think there are like 7 shorts that you guys have, so at least several. So
no, we don't watch any of these.
we try to, you know, keep a safe distance.
you know what? I wouldn't imagine that you guys will have time to do it because you guys are staying with the watches, which series 3 of the Neptune has been featured on at least, I think I've seen it on at least 7 different channels. TGV, which I dig that guy so much, and you guys have been in contact with him.
Yeah.
What's your history? Let the people know what type of history you guys will have with TGV.
Okay.
Back in 2018.
In the very beginning.
Yeah.
When we first launched the Neptune, we were reaching out to watch blogs and YouTube creators and people we generally admired and felt like we shared similar philosophies. Like, hey, this is our watch. This is what we're trying to do with it. And Worn and Wound was very gracious, and they're like, yeah, we're interested. We'll review it. And TGV also was also very interested in took it up, reviewed it, and the minute he posted that review, like they all sold out maybe in a few hours. We were totally overwhelmed, and that was really the start of it for us in terms of getting our brand out there and our watch and our story out there.
Yeah.
And then we kept in touch through the years, and he was really enthusiastic about what we were doing. And was it in 2021?
Well, this was 2018. So 2018, TGV did the review in June, I think, and then we moved back to New York in November. And since he was here back then, we went out for dinner.
Yeah, he had a watch to return to us. We're like,
right.
well, let's just meet for dinner. We're all in New York, you know.
And then he showed us his Lord Sanford skin diver. And he was like, would you guys want to collab and like do something like this? And we're like, yeah, for sure. Like that'd be awesome. And then that watch later turned into the Safari.
Right.
Years, but yeah, that was
and it's not quite like it was originally intended, but it ended up we were really happy with it, with the direction we took with it. And so that's what it was. It was just organic. He was just interested in what we were doing, and we've kept in touch as we release new things. That's
sweet. I kind of knew that, but you know, I want you to explain that to the people. I mean, because here's the deal. When he did the review, this is crazy. When he did that review in 2018, I was subscribed to his channel. I saw that review originally when it dropped, and I didn't know what the company. I was like, he was like, well, this is the price. I said, that's not too bad, because I thought when I first saw it, I said, man, watch that watch be as expensive as a Rolex. I remember saying that. So it's a nice watch, but nah, this is gonna be expensive. When he dropped the price, I said, that's not bad. And it's funny. Full circle, I meet the people that created that watch. I'm like, I remember watching that review because he was singing the praises of the Neptune 3. Oh my gosh, he loved that watch so much. And I believe you had there was 2 versions. There was a blue dial, I believe, on NATO. And yeah, that was sweet. And then I also knew you guys did a collaboration. I think TGV do a collaboration with a lot of major companies. Yeah,
he's done
but I do want to talking about the watch. Hold on, let me take it off real quick. I just reviewed it, and I gave my review. And I'm gonna tell you this: I don't review like the typical. I'm like, if I like the watch, I like it. Now, why did you change the hands from the Neptune 3? What was the inspiration behind you changing the handset on the Neptune 3 on this version from the Neptune 3?
We got some of the feedback we got. It wasn't huge, but it was enough to raise our attention. And that was at nighttime, the legibility was a little difficult because the hour and minute hand looked a little similar. And so we thought about changing up the loom to make those hands more distinct. And then when we did that, we realized that that arrowhead on the hour hand probably should be bigger as well.
Right.
And then once we did that, I was like, oh yeah, this clicks.
Yeah. So the first idea was to make the arrowhead bigger. And so when we did just that, leaving the loom on the neck of the hour hand alone, the hand looked stubby. So it was like, okay, how do we find a way to make this look more elegant and dressy? And so if you took the loom out of the neck, then it visually elongates the hand. And it's more of a vintage look as well, because there's a ton of vintage skin divers that look just like that with the big arrowhead.
Yeah, we had originally steered away from that because we were just trying to keep it elegant, but I think we found a way to still preserve that and make it a little more legible.
Yeah,
a little more bold too.
Well, but may I say,
all change, like.
I was curious, but I'll tell you. Could you watch out, please? So me and my family is photo bombing or video bombing, whatever you want to call it. This is the future of collecting because she learned how to get into my watch box. And yeah.
Awesome.
She actually hid one of my watches. She put it in her little knapsack and I couldn't find it for like 4 days. I was like, where in the world is my watch?
You better get
so crazy. You know what's crazy is I have put an emphasis now on the watches that I'm collecting at this point have to be a part of who I am because my godfather really was he gave me my first watch. Now I grew up, I watched my grandpa, he had a pocket watch and I loved it. It's a tourbillon. And he had a couple of pocket watches. He was a carpenter by trade. And I've just fell in love with watches, but now I remember my godfather had a couple of Rolexes. He had an Omega and those were heirlooms. And the state actually got it when he passed away because he didn't have any children. I was the closest thing to a child, but of course, when he passed away, he didn't have any, the state took all this stuff, his assets, whatever. But I want to journal all of this. All of this is being journaled right now, even with you guys being on here because, and I'm not saying it just because you guys on here, I legit like the fact that this watch has a 50s theme because like, as far as my family, like the information I know, they were only wearing Timexes back in the 50s. That's all they can afford. Even though I know this is not made in the 50s, it has that vibe. And I dare anybody to argue this watch, even though it's a homage to like a couple, it doesn't look like everything else. That's the one thing that I love. And so who's your designer again? Could you tell the people who designed these watches?
That's mostly me.
Okay.
But, yeah, thank you for.
No problem.
Yeah. No problem. That's exactly our goal.
We want that spirit. We don't. It's not a Xerox copy, but we definitely draw, and we're very upfront about what we're trying to achieve. But we want that spirit. We want that recognition. We want, yes, this is it.
Right.
But it to have its own unique identity, and then it's yours.
Yeah. I apologize for being in advance for being philosophical, but I think what really attracts us to watches again is the idea that this is going to be your partner on the wrist. And the reason why we're attracted so much to that 50s design is I think that was like the peak of that era when like watches were actually designed for divers. Like dive watches were designed for divers, like chronographs were designed for race car drivers, and and
that was the tool.
Right. Yeah.
It was necessary and essential.
Yeah. And then here we are, 50, 60 years later.
And we have other tools for that now.
Right. But these watches can still tell these stories. And I think back before we started this brand, it was, well, you know, like Rolex doesn't make watches like that anymore. Omega won't make watches like that anymore. Now it's like the goals are different. You know, now it's like supposed to be this luxury item. Like
it's an ornament, you know, which okay, fine. You can buy whatever you want for whatever reason you want, but that's not. First of all, there's like a high bar to access that for most people, and then it kind of takes away from wanting to actually use it and you know build stories with it other than this is in my collection and my you know.
Yeah,
Right.
So for us, the goal is really like to make it feel like it came out of a time machine.
Oh man, you guys did that. You guys did that.
Thank you.
No, seriously. And I do want to point out, we have a number of people in the chat, a lot of people that is not used to your brand or this may be their first time. We actually have Average Joe watch reviews in here. He is another reviewer. I've watched his channel for a long time. He said I would actually love to review a Laurier on this channel. This is a guy. I mean, you guys can just look at his channel. That's all I'll say. Just review his channel. Look, he does a great job on reviews.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. I do, before you even told me or you guys explained that, this is a tool watch and it does have that, but you guys chose to go with a hard plastic plexiglass versus going with the sapphire crystal and mineral. Have you guys got any pushback on that from the fan base?
Oh, I mean, not the fan base per se, maybe, but people who aren't familiar with the brand, most definitely. But yeah, I think again the dynamic has changed nowadays to where
Most people who know us know what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's either like something they like and want or something they're not interested in.
I agree.
But there are plenty of vintage inspired watches that have sapphire options, but we just really like Lorenzo said, we're trying to make it feel like you pulled it out of a time machine. And that's what the acrylic crystal does. It really gives it that feel, have that warmth and clarity I think that you just can't replicate, no matter how many layers of anti-reflective coating you put on another material.
Yeah, and I think a lot of confusion comes from brands typically make a modern watch with vintage design cues, but that's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is to make a vintage watch today, and so you kind of have to go with an acrylic crystal if you want something that really feels vintage. And philosophically, we also want to move away from the idea of a watch as a precious object. You know, like a lot of us feel like, oh, like a scratch is going to make a watch worthless, you know, but it's like, no, it's like, it's part of the story. And on the crystal, the nice thing with the acrylic is you can just buff it out.
So
it's a spiritual thing more than anything.
You can keep the patina or you can polish it out, but it's low stress. It's not as stressful. It's not a big deal. It's like you have leather shoes, you know, like you maintain the things you care about. It's just like that. It's nothing. It's not rocket science.
Right. I mean, it's a spiritual thing, but it's also like an aesthetic thing on top.
So what they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, which I also dig, you guys put that card in. That is such a nice touch. I promise you, when I saw that, I said, I love that. You guys actually signed a thank you card, and I much rather you guys stay niche. Now, I'm not saying I don't want your business to grow. I much rather you guys stay niche because this is close to the heart. So you guys get this in the package. You get your poly watch, and you get your cloth. And you can buff that thing out, and this is the actual box. And I was in the Army, so when I saw that chevron, I said, "Oh yeah, I'm down." So you guys have a lot of nice touches, and like I had told you guys before, my biggest, because I know I was going to get at least one watch. I asked this question when it comes to the microbrand space. Does a microbrand have enough let's see, attention grabbing as it has enough utilitarian features for me to buy multiple. And my biggest like plight was either this or the Hyperion, because I love the Hyperion. That thing is beautiful. And I know, Lorenzo, I know you've designed that, but like what inspired the Hyperion?
Just the original GMT,
Okay.
Rolex reference 6542. That's really the OG pilot's watch that was reportedly designed in collaboration with Pan Am and all that. And so it has that romantic spirit of, mid-century jet age. And
continental travel. I think we wanted to cover the bases in terms of the complications we offered. And offered in GMT with that classic Pepsi bezel was like the obvious choice for what we needed to do with that. It's just, there's so much swag. Yeah. It looks
And
good.
I do want to tell the audience, if you guys want to go to more than just a functional website, go look at the website, which he designed there too. I was so impressed. It was so easy to go through, and then I see the references. I said, ooh. And I asked him, I said, who did that? He said, I did. I said, you're a freaking genius, bro. That website was legit. I'm impressed. There's a few websites that I've gone on. It was sort of hard to go through, and it was like, okay, where do I click the link to find the actual watch? There was some and I'm not calling them out, but there are some websites was like, they'll show you the watch, but then the pricing wouldn't be close to where you need to. Like, okay, how do I buy the watch? You have to go through so many different pages. Yours flow. It's just natural. And then you got a picture of Sean Connery in there as James Bond. I said, ooh.
Of course.
Oh, man, you killed it. You killed it.
Thank you.
Now,
I think it's our teaching experience that helps a lot with that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like you teach a bunch of high schoolers who'd rather be on TikTok. I think learn a thing or two about keeping attention and flow.
Man, well, you definitely kept my attention because I was on that thing. And I do plan on. You have a collection of watches that I would love to just buy the series. Like I would just like, okay, I'm gonna get this one, then I'm gonna get this one. And the journey, I love everything. I feel like I'm a part of the journey. And the one thing I do want to tell you guys was just the spirit of entrepreneurship. That's another thing that I just love about you too. And the fact that there's another watch company that I met, the husband and wife, but you guys coincide so well. Like, what's the secret? Maybe you can help me. So what's the secret sauce?
This is what's in my head. I don't know if it's what's in Lorenzo's head, but I feel like we have trust in each other's competence and capabilities, and we put our relationship first, like our life together, the life we build together is like the priority, and then everything else is like a means to that end. And so that kind of helps me stay grounded and you to keep oriented in the direction we're going and prioritize. Because sometimes I'm like, if he was just a friend or like a business associate, like the stress builds. And I could see, like, if we had started as friends, we may not be as friendly 5 years in because the stress and the unpredictability, and some things are out of your control and that gets on you. But he's like the most important thing in my life. So it just makes it like, it just strengthens our relationship more because that's the number one. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what's going on in my head.
Hey, well, Lauren, I tell you what, keep doing what you're doing. If he's making watches like this, you keep doing what you do.
I mean, this is going to be cliche, but on my part, it's very much communication. Like we're very, I think we've been married 12 years now, and
Congrats.
it's been 12 years,
I
right?
think so. Yeah.
Right, it's 2023. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah. But I think we've gotten better at sort of getting across what we have in our heads, and during moments of stress, like not taking, like I can't remember where I heard this, but there's a difference between you versus me and us versus the situation. And so, we've gotten to practice that a lot.
Yes, we've had a lot of practice.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities to really improve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the secret.
And that was the biggest thing, because I always went, because I asked a couple. I was at the Microlux up in Chicago earlier this year, and there was a husband-wife combo there, and I said, man, that is amazing that you guys are flowing together. You're coming out with some great designs, and they had a great design as well. But again, going back to Chicago, the windup, you guys have this dynamic, man, and like you guys were just flowing off each other. But I did pay attention. I was over talking to another group of people, and you lost your voice there, didn't you? Because like you were talking to everybody.
Always loses his voice. Yeah, it's a problem.
You know what? I will call that passion, because you explained your heart out, and I was sitting there like trying to debate, okay, what watch? I got to get a watch today. What do I get? Do I get this? And it was just driving me crazy. And I know we talked, and I said, man, I don't know what I want, the Hyperion or this one, but I had to go with the one that brought me to the table outside of your mustache. I had to go with the one that brought me to the table, and that was beautiful. Now, how many watches you guys have right now? Different watches you have available?
Okay.
Well, first I want to say I think the Neptune looks great on you. Like now that
it's a fit.
Yeah,
it's good. How many models? 6 models?
Yeah, we have hold on.
Well, you can look at our website.
Let me look at the website.
6 models. But
hey, I want you guys to feel comfortable here, because like this is what I love is, what I'm saying? I want to get the raw and the real from people, because I give the raw and real to everybody. So I would just want people to know, what I'm saying? Because again, when you see a watch company's name and then the people, if you happen to have an opportunity to see the people, you don't know as a collector, are these people going to be kind of arrogant to me? But you guys are just the opposite. Even the reason why you make the watches, which I think that's what another one of your secret sauce, why it flows, because you put your marriage first, which I think is dope. But continue, sir.
Thank you. We have 7 models.
7 models.
Oh,
yeah.
The Astra's the one that took it to 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of availability, I mean, that's probably the biggest complaint we get about our website is, why can't I buy a watch? But it's going to get better. Okay, the Gemini is coming back this weekend. The Neptune and Falcon are on pre-order now, but we're going to turn that over to regular orders. We're pretty much done fulfilling those. The GMTs are coming back later. The Astra,
hopefully September.
Yeah, so things will be coming.
We'll see.
But we don't send newsletters, like emails out daily. We don't spam people with marketing, but we do send out emails when we have a restock to announce or a new model release.
Oh, that's great.
So
that's great.
Sign up for the newsletter and you may get an email once a month. Oh yeah, you'll probably get an email tomorrow about the Gemini. But yeah, that's how we mostly communicate the schedule and what's coming up.
Okay. So I do want to ask about the movement in your watches. You guys go with Miyota for the most part, because I know you guys were doing the NH35 at one point. So now you moved into Miyota. So are we staying with Miyota for now, or are you guys planning on putting a Swiss movement in it, or what's your plan?
We're really happy with the Miyota. Yeah, it's great. It's rock solid, and it allows us to price our watches really aggressively. And a big A big priority for us is keeping our watches as accessible as they can be. I mean, obviously $500 is a lot of money, but we're not going to add cost to the watch if it's not going to add any tangible functionality or improve it in a real noticeable way.
Right.
And to be able to just perform so solidly, we can't justify replacing it with a more expensive movement that would perform pretty much the same.
Gosh, that's deep. You guys are for the people. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, thank you. It's
no, seriously, that's deep.
Some people are like, I'd like to see what you could do for $1,000 or $2,000, and it's like, that's not. That would take us out of so many people's limit, and
it would just be a more expensive watch. It wouldn't be better.
Right. It would just be aesthetically more pricey for different, components or materials used, but it wouldn't necessarily be better, and it wouldn't necessarily look better.
No, it wouldn't.
It would just be more expensive.
Right.
So we're trying to not go down that route.
You guys, okay, your stock with me just went through the roof at this point. Oh my gosh, man. Like now this is so crazy is because as a watch collector, as an enthusiast, I love all type of brands. I mean, there's the Panerai is one of my go-to. That's like I think once I get the Panerai, I'm done collecting watches. I'll still love watches, but I think I'm finished because that's like $9,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the fact that you guys have this mentality of, like I said, marriage first, then we're going to do our job to put a watch to people that can wear it, not just as, hey, look what I got this chain on, or I got this. That is, you don't hear that. Like, you hear it from the mouth. And if I told people, hey, y'all, guess what? I talked to Lorenzo and Lauren, and this is what they said, they'd be like, yeah, right, Trap. They ain't really doing that. They trying to get all your money. But I think $500 in comparison, it is a lot. That is a big investment for some people because that was way out of my budget at one point. You know what I'm saying? That's one of them, like, I got to save up to. But at this point, knowing how you guys go about making your watches, how you guys feel about watches, I don't mind, like, hey, you know what? Let me save up a couple checks. I'm going to go get the Hyperion. Okay, I'm going to wait a couple months. I'm going to go get this one. Have no problem with that until I get the whole collection. And it's not just to collect, but each one of your watches have a different vibe to it. That Gemini is something nasty too. That thing. I love that one.
Thank you.
That was sweet. You guys have you got a bunch of folks in the chat. I'm looking through the chat. You got some fans. And again, if you just got here, this is Lorenzo and Lauren, the Ortegas. They are the creators of Laurier, which I have to ask this question for the people. Who came up with the name Laurier?
That's a great question. I think I did.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, because it's French.
I did.
Yeah.
I grew up in Geneva. So I speak French, and we had a bunch of naming the brand was the hardest thing, probably. Like, we had the watch before the brand name.
It's a real stumper. Yeah. To find something like meaningful and still, universal and pretty, that doesn't sound like a law firm or whatever, a rocket company, like it's hard. It's really hard.
So the root word of both of our names is laurel, and that has all the associated qualities of victory and
like the laurel crown and stuff like that. And with Lorenzo's French speaking history, and then so the French word for laurel is laurier, and that's spelled with an L-A-U, but the old French word is L-O-R-I-E-R. We liked aesthetically, we liked that better,
right?
And it also wasn't taken. And so, we're like, that's it. That is significant to us on a personal level. It's connected to us. It's meaningful, and it has a universal connotation as well with the laurel and the positive qualities of of that. So we felt good about it. Then we were able, okay, well, we can do this now. We have a name for the brand. We can begin.
That's amazing. And I'll say this because I know you mentioned that you guys try to stay away from everything else, but I will say, based on a lot of the channels that I watched, your brand as a whole is ranked as one of the best independent or niche brands that's out there. The Laurier name, in my opinion, this is something that I'm telling you. When I heard Laurier for the first time, I said, man, that seems regal. That's crazy. Like that thing, it's almost in the same category as the big name brands. You know what I'm saying? So now you guys,
wow, thank you.
It's like seriously, it's like a household name at this point.
Wow.
Because in the video I did before this, I mentioned that you guys you're in competition with, I don't know how many thousands of micro brands. There's a new one made. I've heard, I just actually met with the guy that makes watches here in Indiana. And he was telling me that there's a company out of Singapore that's trying to just flood the market with watches, which I'm gonna tell you, people, don't do it. Go get you a nice piece. Don't just because it's cheap. Like, because this watch is so personal. But what I want to tell you guys is you do have a household name at this point. Now, I know you still niche. I understand micro brands, because 4 or 5 years ago, the word micro brand did not register with me at all. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
In watching TGV's video about you guys, your watch, the only thing I was like, okay, it must be a foreign. And I said that watch must be from France or something. I don't know where it is, but he did mention, he was like, you guys lived in Texas at one point, and then you moved to New York, which I imagine you guys are staying put.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But no, here's a question I have for you guys. Would you guys consider, if let's say for instance a local store in New York wanted to feature your watches or sell your watches, would you collaborate with an AD?
Well, we do, but our pricing is not made
the same
for retail. Like we don't have a margin for that, so we're not looking to partner with retailers. But we do have a service center here in New York, Grand Central Watch, and they have our watches in their window. They're our one retailer, and so if you're in New York or in the area, you can go to Grand Central and you can try out our watches in the metal, see how they look, how they feel. You can buy them there. Whenever we get more inventory, I always take some down there. So it varies what's in their window depending on what we've been able to bring them. But we try and keep some watches in their window at all times, so people have that, because it is. I understand there's a big hurdle to buying something that you're not able to feel, try on. It's a pretty significant purchase, so it's good we have them. But other than that,
and they're a great store. Just as an aside, they've been there since 1957, if I'm not mistaken. Third generation family, and they have a ton of like just wonderful vintage watches in their window as well. So awesome.
So we're about to wrap this up, y'all, but I do want to ask you guys this. Are you guys going to that the wind up show in New York?
Yes, we will be there.
You guys will be there. Okay. And I have a number of people in New York that they'll be there in attendance. There'll be a lot of Invicta collectors that'll get a chance to see you guys in person. And I'm telling you guys, go check out the watches. Keep an open mind, but check out the watches. I say this: you can get sapphire, crystal, or mineral in any other watch. This was not made to satisfy that. They said it. That came from their mouth. You heard it. And if you didn't hear it at this point, go back, because that means you just got here. So go back and watch what was going on. But I do recommend that you guys go out, just type their names in the search engine on YouTube and just go for it if you want to know more about them, because there were some great questions. I didn't want to repeat any of the questions that was already, mentioned outside of some stuff you have to, but I just wanted to get to know you guys. I wanted to get people to see what I saw when I came to Chicago. Man, you guys were so welcoming. And anybody that is passionate about their brand, and I will take this out of the mouths of some people. There were 3 people at that exhibit that did not sell me. When I came up, they just handed me a watch and sat back down. I said, I don't even want to know. The watch looks nice, but you're not even telling me anything. Man, Lorenzo was everywhere, man. And then you gave me this beautiful, look at this, man. You can put this as a pocket square, or you can clean your watch with it.
Yep.
That's exactly the point.
We'll send you another one.
Man, that is so crazy, man. Let's see. I'll be watching replay for sure. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ortegas. I appreciate you guys taking the time, spend it with me. We've been on here almost an hour, and I know you got things to do. You got watch to make because the orders are coming through. The orders, people are like, I see that online. They said, man, I can't get the watch. But
yeah,
you guys have an amazing brand.
Yes, that's such a great time.
I appreciate you guys.
And it's, as you can probably tell with the note and everything, this is really personal to us, and it's really rewarding when it becomes personal to someone else too. So thank you so much.
Hey,
yeah,
I tell you what, y'all don't know this. I'm actually losing weight in this watch. So I work out in this watch, so I already got scratches in it.
Nice. Awesome. Yes.
Hey,
I'm beating this watch.
Take the link out.
Listen, it's already put the micro adjust on because I lost 3 pounds already. So yeah, that's I've only had to watch for a week and a half now. So yeah, I'm getting it. So yeah, that's that. Listen, that's the end of the show. You guys, this is the Ortegas. If you guys want to know more about it, please go over there and check them out, man. LaurierWatch.com, or just go www.laurierwatch.com, and it'll take you straight to one of the dopest websites that you'll see flat out. I'm not gonna go back and forth with y'all. I ain't even gonna argue. Go see, check it out for yourself. So with that being said, I always leave with positivity. So you guys have anything positive? It don't even got to be watch related, but anything positive you want to leave with the people.
I mean, I just want to share my gratitude to you, and this was such a nice conversation, and
appreciate it.
And we're very aware that what we're doing and what we're trying to do is a very niche goal, and we're super appreciative of everyone who is responding and also on board with what we're trying to do, because like you said, there are thousands and thousands of other micro brands and watch brands in general out there that are making fine watches that you could buy. And so I'm very aware of every time I see an order come in, they chose ours, and that means a lot. So thank you.
I appreciate it. So family, and that's what I consider everybody here is family. You guys are always welcome here, even if you want to just sit in the chat and talk or whatever the case is. Hopefully I get to see you guys in October. That's my plan, to come down there. And I may be getting my Hyperion once I come. That is the goal. And
awesome.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Looking forward to seeing
so yeah, listen, I'm coming. Unless guys say something different, I'll be there. All right. So I have nothing else for anybody else here. Y'all know my slogan. Until the next lightning strike, y'all be blessed.
Very nice. Thank you.